What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Guys, we were back here in Sweden. Somebody sent me this video. I think somebody sent it and added it to the playlist. So I deem is very, very important here in Sweden with the channel Living Swedish. As y'all see, I already subscribed. So y'all make sure y'all subscribe to her channel. I believe I did one or two of her videos already. So y'all make sure, because I like her channel. I like her channel. Make sure y'all give it a thumbs up at the end. But we discovering Swedish identity. What does a typical Swede look like to me? So this is interesting. Of course, usually, at least the stereotypes that I've heard about Sweden is, blonde hair, blue eyes, but definitely different, at least from what I've seen as well. So, yeah, those stereotypes are not always to be true type of thing, but let's check out Discovering Swedish Identity.
Hey and welcome to my channel. In today's video I thought I'd talk a little bit what are the characteristics of a Swedish person. And this is obviously quite personal. It's from an observation in the last 2 years since I moved here to Sweden. I just thought it could be quite fun to analyze, okay, maybe not analyze, but just like think of what makes a Swede a Swede. So let's get started immediately.
That's a good question to ask. What makes a Swede a Swede?
The one thing I noticed is that Swedes are quite respectful, and that shows really in many ways. They respect the environment, the personal space and the community they live in. So sometimes Swedes can come across a little bit distant or cold or, not that approachable. But I think a lot of this kind of characteristic comes from having a lot of respect for other people. And one example actually is recently, like I met with a parent at the playground. Well, we accidentally met and our children were playing for quite a long time. And then my older daughter came to me and asked me if we can go home because she was tired. So I basically just said to the parent that we are going home now because she's tired. And immediately he kind of said, oh, he hopes that he didn't intrude. And I was quite like, oh my God, no, not at all. It was really lovely, to catching up, to talk about things, anything really. We talked about a lot of things. It was really fun whilst our children were playing. But yeah, me saying, oh, we're going now seemed like, oh, maybe he said something wrong or was too much or whatever. I don't know.
I hate that feeling too, because sometimes it is an awkward situation, especially when you probably been there. Say for you've been there for like an hour, maybe we would say 30 minutes. You've been there 30 minutes. You only have 15 more minutes to spare. Somebody comes sit down with you, and you're getting ready to leave in like 10 minutes, and it's like, oh, sorry, you gotta, I think I've had that happen to me before, where it's like, oh, I'm about to go. And it's awkward because some people do think, which you can clarify with them. They think they're the problem. They were the reason that you're getting. But it's like, if you're on a time schedule, like she said, a child was tired, so that was a cue to go, type of thing. But sometimes people do think that, because you don't want to be a bother. You don't know what people going through and different things like that. So you don't want to. Some people might just want to be there by themselves, chilling, and so I definitely had that happen to me.
His thought process, but I just thought like it was very interesting how he reacted, and it kind of showed again this respect he had for my personal space and what I thought, and he didn't really want it to be too much, basically. And then another thing I would say Swedes are, they like to follow rules, but, and let me explain a little bit. I think when there are rules and they make sense, kind of common sense rules, Swedes are very happy to follow these rules because it has benefits, benefits maybe for themselves, but also for the community. If it suits, a lot of people and has advantages for a lot of people, then it makes sense, and then they like to follow the rules. I think it also has to do with respect, especially when it is known that following the rules benefits a lot of people, then they respectfully follow these rules. Of course, sometimes it can be a little bit too far. There's one example which, where it is good to follow the laws, but if you don't think outside of the box or about the consequences, I mean, the laws are the laws and you have to follow the laws.
Facts.
That's basically the idea behind it. But when it comes to burning a religious book, and you know what I'm talking about, and I don't want to go into too much detail here, but I find that as an interesting example where there's freedom of speech, which is a law, and you really want to follow it, and you don't really think about, the consequences of what does it really mean, and is it even right, and you still follow the rules, although the decision made is by really a minority. Anyways,
Yeah.
I don't want to go too much into it.
I think
But it
that
can
happens here
sometimes
too.
also backfire. That's what I want to say. That when you follow the rules all the time, it can backfire. But at the
Facts.
beginning, I said there's also a but, because as much as Swedes like to follow rules, I think there is like a limit sometimes, where if it doesn't has common sense, or maybe it doesn't benefit actually a lot of people, then I think Swedes do kind of rebel. I mean, not massively, but kind of cry out loud, and say something. And to give you an example, like a school near us was about to close. It was a kind of political decision, and it didn't benefit, in the first steps, a lot of people. It kind of seemed to benefit more like either the politicians or maybe the communities. Like, definitely was also a money thing. And then, parents stood up and kind of, I don't want to say demonstrated, but like a mini demonstration and stuff like that. So it shows that Swedes don't only take everything as it is presented to them, kind of following the rules. It really depends. So what I've observed is, if it makes common sense, if it benefits a lot of people, if it benefits like the weak, for example, then yes, they're more likely to follow the rules and it's all fine. But if there's an agenda behind it, or if it doesn't benefit a lot of people, or if it's not common sense kind of thing, like there is a bit of a rebellion behind every Swede. Okay, when I say every Swede, obviously there's always exceptions, but
I feel like that's the same here. Like, you can really tell the difference between a small town and a major city type of thing. Especially here in Texas. Like, I stay in a small town, but there's smaller towns around me. Like, we're big, but we're not Dallas, Houston big, right? So like, my city is still considered a small town. So you'll see certain things that happen, and the whole community can get behind it, And there's even smaller towns around, and it's like a community thing. But when you reach those bigger cities, like at this point, you may have communities, but you don't really see too much because the areas are so big, and it's like within a city there's a town that, or it's like a neighborhood side of town that just, it's almost like it's its own small city within the city type of thing. Now you can't, like what she's saying, you really can tell a difference, because that's how it is here with us too, with certain things going on, either school related, or politically, or just in our times today. Like, you can really tell a difference. But it's city to city, big, small, it's a big difference.
This is what I observed, and I feel
I'm sure
like
that's what Sweden too.
that's a bit of the character of a Swede as well. And another thing I observed is that Swedes like to help and give advice. They don't do it without asking, so they wouldn't just randomly come up to you and give you advice. I think it's more in the context, thinking more about, about my neighbors, and my partner recently painted fence on our terrace, and he actually had a few conversations with like people who passed by. Some of them were our neighbors, and then they give some tips and advice and stuff like that. So I feel Swedes have something to say. They like to share their knowledge, but they wouldn't force it onto you, if that makes sense. So this is something I observed, and there is very, very supportive nature in them as well.
Yeah,
like,
that's
I
good.
like to observe the little things sometimes, and I noticed when I was taking the bus a few times, like, people let me get off first. Like, they would wait and let me off. and that was women and men. And I think that's kind, so it's just a
Yeah,
little act of kindness. It might be insignificant, but it just shows a little bit the character of people. And I've
that's
come
good.
across it a few times.
That's good because I feel like I'm that same way. I think I held the door for like it's the morning time for me. I done held the door for like 5 people already, and my day just started. And I
Now,
held
and my perception is really that there
but
is
that's good,
some,
sweets.
really good kind of kindness rooted in Swedes. Like they like to help, they like to support, they
Hmm.
like to give advice where advice is appreciated. One thing I also now discovered in maybe the 2 years, but also maybe beyond the 2 years because I have some Swedish friends, but when you make friends with Swedes, it might be quite hard to start a friendship because Swedes are quite reserved, they're quite
Yeah,
careful, respectful. But once you made friends with a Swede, they're really friends for life. They really care about you, they are there for you. Like it is nice to have a Swedish friend. And
yeah,
this is something, maybe it is a bit different in other countries where maybe it's quite easy to make friends, and you meet up and whatever. But I think there are different levels of friendships. There's just the socializing part of it, chatting to people, maybe
yeah.
occasionally meeting up with people. And then there is a lot of layers in between. But then there's also like deep friendships. Like if you need anything, if you need help, can you rely on your friends?
And that's what I like about Sweden because I remember when I first started learning about Sweden, y'all was there helping me. I'm not gonna lie. I had certain people, I'll see their face, recognize their face. Y'all helped me with certain things, and make the suggestions for me to learn about other things that I was unaware about. But I think that's pretty cool. That's why I can't wait to come to Sweden. Hopefully, I get to meet some of y'all. But um, most importantly, I just know that I'll be good. I'll be good. Y'all might be like, "Hey, Dar, go check this out." Go, I'll have some guides out there because y'all been very helpful. Even me just learning, watching videos like this. Uh, but yeah, shout out to Sweden. For being helpful. I feel like I got some friends out there. Like I said, I see some familiar faces all the times in the comments. Some of you, I think, followed me on Instagram as well, Twitter. So that's pretty cool
And I
always.
feel the Swedes, once they are your friend, they are very supportive of you, go through with you like ups and downs, they just
Hmm.
don't disappear when you maybe have a bad time, or, they're just there for you and they appreciate you and they count you as their friend and you are their friend.
Hmm.
You're not going to be thrown away the next day if something went wrong. So I will observe it more. Hopefully, I will make some, new friendships, like proper new friendships with Swedes to kind of
Hmm.
observe like the beginning of a friendship, and further
Yeah.
into a friendship. And last but not least, I feel Swedes are effortlessly stylish. Yes, maybe not every
H&M.
Swede, of course, but just in general, like I just love that Swedes look really stylish, but it looks like it just happened to them. It's like, oh, yeah, I just dressed myself today and
I
I look
woke up
like
like
this and I look
this.
gorgeous. I really like that. With Swedes, like the style, I am not there yet. I'm learning, observing, and I hope one day when I have also a bit more time that I can just style myself
Yeah.
effortlessly stylish and be a bit more sweet because I really admire that, that the style
Style.
looks cool, but comfortable and not thought through, but
Mm.
they are just this way. I'm stuttering because it's really hard to kind of describe it, but I just love that, you walk around and people just like look cool and gorgeous, and that's just who they are. And
I'm telling you, the H&M. I still shop at H&M. I still got some pants. I definitely love their pants and their sweaters.
that's
So
how
that's
they
usually my
do
winter
it, and that
clothes.
it doesn't look like they're trying hard, basically. So I really like that with Swedes, and maybe it's not everyone, of course, but just overall when you look around, and maybe it's also more a city thing, I don't know, but I really like the Swedish style. People dress themselves, and there's summer styles and obviously winter styles. And I think Swedes nailed it. Okay, I hope you
That's
enjoyed this
nice.
video. Let me know if you want to add anything. Let me know in the comments down below. And well,
Oh, sweet.
hopefully I see you in my next video. Until then, have a great day and stay safe. Hey do.
Hey, though. Hey, though. First time camping in Sweden. That's nice. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all give this one a thumbs up. I'll put the link in the description, but make sure y'all give it a thumbs up. Some Sweden laws say that we should be proud of our freedom of speech and presses. Should be okay. Yeah. Burning books. You have the right to do it. So thank you for the wonderful video. For a person I came across living Sweden but isn't native, who really understand the fundamental levels of how the Swedish society is, as well as individuals act like. That's why I say you do gotta have an open mind. Like with certain things, I know what I believe, what I agree with, but I can't be mad at somebody for like not agreeing with what I agree with. You know, because we all have our right to our own opinions. We have our right to our own choices in life. You know, just understanding and know why people make this decision they make. You know, everybody has their own choices out here. You know, so. But this was good. This was good. Like I said, she seemed like she understand. She understand a good amount. I forgot. I seen the video. I believe I forgot where she moved from. Yeah, I forgot where she moved from. I did a video, but all in all, like I said, she does seem like she's understand. She's adapting. I feel like you move somewhere new, you gotta understand and be open minded and follow what goes on there. Because other than that, you're not gonna make the most of it just or set in your ways and stuff. Especially going somewhere new where it's just gonna be totally different. But this was good. Like I said, link in the description to subscribe to her channel and give this video a thumbs up. That's all I have. Y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button on my end. Send out more recommendations or add videos to the playlist. Y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.